Let's make this lantern for the kitchen. Open a new scene. Set up a reference image in your front viewport. And we can start modeling. And so basically it's shaped like a clover. So it has these 4 rounded parts. Let's start by making somewhat of a template for the shape. So first let's make a circle. Like that. Maybe smaller. Okay. Let's convert it to editable poly. To editable spline. And delete some of the segments. Okay, I'm gonna shift plus rotate to make a copy. And move over here. And one more copy to the left side. So this would probably be the approximate shape if you look at it from the top. Okay, let's convert all of these. Shall I just attach them together? Attach and weld these vertices in the corners. Okay, good. Okay, let's leave it at the side for now. Maybe first let's scale it down slightly. Right, like that. And leave it down here. Now let's make a copy. Move it over here. And give it a radial profile. Right. I'm gonna make another copy upwards and give it a rectangular profile. And make it much thinner. So like that. Okay, good. I think we need to increase the interpolation steps for these shapes. Let's try 16, just to get them nice and smooth. And good. And let's mirror them upwards. Make a copy. And move up. Right. So next we have these vertical pieces. Right here. I'm gonna try and make them from lines. Make a line from the top to the bottom. Let's give it a radial profile. And from the top viewport, let's move it in the position right here. And copy to the other corners. Okay, I'm gonna attach these together. And make them a bit thinner. Okay, like that. Alright, now let's make the glass part. Select one of the lines with the rectangular profile, copy it up. Choose make a copy, make it slightly thicker. Convert to editable poly. And now you can extend it down and up to make the whole shape. Okay, so that's gonna be our glass part. Let's make a circle down the middle here. And give it a rectangular profile. Actually, let's make it radial. Make it a bit smoother. And move down here. Okay, good. I'm gonna take this upper shape. It doesn't matter which one. Make a copy. Disable the profile and add extrude modifier. And let's extrude them upwards like this. Collapse to editable poly. Select the upper vertices and scale them down all the way like this. Maybe scale these parts slightly as well. Right? It's good. Now let's copy this line again and extrude it just a tiny bit to close the gaps. Okay, like that. Now let's make this round part here. Should probably be made from a simple cylinder. So go on here to the top view, make a cylinder, extend it upwards. Adjust the size. And check in the perspective view, right? Need to move this part down so it blends in like this. Okay. I'm gonna select this edge ring and connect like this. Let's move this upwards. And create a shape from selection, alright? Now for that shape, I want to enable a rectangular profile. Okay, and position it over here. Looks good. Alright. So now let's make the small cone over here on the top. I'm going to copy my cylinder, scale it down, and scale down the top vertices. Okay, good, maybe slightly larger. Alright, like that. Okay, let's make this lower piece. Simple profile revolved around its axis. Okay, so let's disable the rectangular profile, change the shape of this line. And lathe. Okay, good. Maybe this part slightly thicker. Like that. And let's move it over here on these corners. Maybe make it slightly smoother by increasing the segments. Okay, and make a few copies for all the corners. So that's good. What else? Alright, let's make this top frame, starting with a sphere. Then make a profile with the lathe modifier. Let's make these parts rounder. This one as well. And add lathe. Okay, good. Large circle over here. Make it radial. And finally, let's make a rectangle over here. Convert editable spline. Delete the lower segment. Let's move these up. And round the corners. It's hard to see on a white background. Let's make an instance to the right. First set them to corner type and then use fillet to round them. So just like that. Let's make the profile a bit thicker. Okay, good. Now we need to create a sphere here. Little profile over here. Let's run this. And another sphere on the bottom. Right. Looks like I didn't make an instance. So I didn't change this one. Okay, that's not a big problem. Okay, so let's look at everything from the top. Let's select these parts and rotate them 45 degrees. This way we can easily position this frame and make sure it fits correctly. Okay, let's make it a bit thicker. And copy these decorations to the other side. Okay. Right, so what's next? Looks like we have a sort of something like leaves around this central point. Let's make a shape. Disable the profile, make an instance on the x-axis. And adjust the shape. Sort of like this. Okay, now collapse them both to editable splines. Attach together. And weld the endpoints. Right, so I'm gonna divide these segments. And set all the vertices to a corner. This way I get a nice, very basic shape. I can convert to editable poly. And just connect vertices like this to create a mesh. Okay, let's rotate it. And give it a slight bend. Sort of like this. Let's look at it from the top. Move the pivot point to the center point of our chandelier or our lantern. And let's use the array to make some copies. So let's rotate 360 degrees in total. Make some instances. And let's make, let's say, 6 of them. Now I can adjust one of them to fit the rest. It's like that. Okay, let's select the center edge loop, chamfer it a bit, make it thicker by using shell. Okay, and turbo smooth. I'm gonna increase the shell segments to make it slightly sharper and slightly thinner, like that. And I'm also gonna add an edge ring along the center here and move it down like this. Okay, good. And finally, let's make these. Okay, let's extend this one down. And let's make this curved shape that connects the lantern with the fixture. Just chamfer the edges slightly and mirror to the other side. Yes, I'm also going to chamfer the edges on this spline. First we need to add edit poly, then ring loop and chamfer. Like that. Okay, what else? I think maybe let's make this lower line a bit thicker. Collapse editable poly, and again, let's chamfer the long edges. Alright, let's select the whole thing and rotate it 45 degrees. Like this. Right, we need to make these small connectors over here. Just trace the shape and lathe. And finally, let's fill out this little corner. Okay, position on over here. Mirror it to the other side. Select both of them and shift rotate 90 degrees to make some copies. Now look at it from the top, check to see if it's positioned correctly, and it's not, and let's rotate 45 degrees. So like this. And finally we need to make the candles inside the lantern. Let's start with the line over here. Let's give it a radial profile. And make a couple of spheres on the end. Let's make this one smaller. And now we need to create one of the candles. Okay, so let's start with this arm around the corner slightly. Make the profile a bit thinner. Okay, good. Let's make a sphere on top. And let's use a line to trace this sort of a profile. Okay, let's round it a bit. And lathe. Let's make sure it's centered. All right. Cap the holes with the modifier. And now let's make the candle. Just a simple line with radial profile. And the bulb. I'm gonna make the candle a bit rounder and thicker. Again, for the bulb, let's start with the sphere. Rotate it 90 degrees, like this. And let's add FFD 4x4 to distort the shape. Okay. So that looks about right. Collapse editable poly. And add shell modifier to give the glass some thickness. If you don't give it some shell, it just looks like a solid piece of glass when rendered. Make it pretty thin. Right. Now let's make a multi-sub material. But looks like we just need 3 materials. So let's set the number of materials to 3. And the first will be brass. The second will be candle. And the third one will be glass. Alright, let's assign this material to everything. And first, let's fix the material IDs. Let's set everything to 1. Except these 2 things. So let's make the bulb from glass and the candle from the candle material. So that's good. Right, group this thing together, mirror to other side. Select both of them and Shift plus rotate 90 degrees to make another copy, like this. Now let's position the whole assembly inside the lantern. Somewhere over here. Right, and let's change the material ID for the large glass panels to 3 as well. And finally, we need to create this decorative fence on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple element like this. Create a line inside. Doesn't need to be perfect, it's so small it will be almost invisible. Okay, make sure all the vertices are set to corner and collapse to editable poly. Now let's select these vertices and flatten them out on the x-axis, just scale them to 0. Select these left vertices and flatten them as well. And now we need to connect these vertices. You can use the cut tool, the connect tool, whichever you find faster or easier. Okay, good enough. Give it shell. And symmetry. Right, so that's one element. Let's collapse it to editable poly. Maybe scale it out like this. Select these outer edge loops. Okay, and let's chamfer these edges slightly. Looks like some of the vertices are not welded. Let's try again, looks better. Right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna make it exactly like the reference. I'm gonna move my pivot point right here. I'm gonna isolate this element and the shape we left earlier. Okay. Now I'm going to use the spacing tool to position these pieces on this line here. So select your object, go to Tools, Align, Spacing Tool, and pick Path. Okay, make sure you select this option here that says Follow. It's like it doesn't follow too well. Let's cancel and let's change the path a bit. I'm just gonna delete everything except these two segments and try again. Okay, make sure you should choose instances and press apply. Let's try to rotate them. Select your original object, select all the vertices, and rotate by 90 degrees. And if you move the vertices around, you can align closer to the shape. Like that. And now just select these pieces and mirror them down. Spacing tool is sometimes a bit glitchy, so you have to manually adjust the results. Okay, and I think that looks good. Let's group these pieces together. Unhide all. Mirror them vertically. And move up. Okay, now just rotate and position them in the correct place. Let's set the correct material ID, it's alright. It looks like we need to delete these outermost elements. I'm just gonna scale it a bit. And that looks good. Okay, now mirror up, make a copy. Select both of them and rotate 90 degrees by holding the shift. And there you have it, the chandelier is ready. Let's just add the chain. It's a simple rectangle with rounded corners and a radial profile. Shift and move it up to make a copy rotate. Now copy both of them. Okay, rotate slightly. Again, copy all 4. Rotate. And copy all 8. Like that. Right, and that's the lantern. I'm gonna save it. And open my scene. And merge it in. Okay, let's check the scale. It should be about 60 centimeters in the diameter or so. So right now it's much too large. Use the measure tool to see the size and scale it down until you are close. And that's close enough. And let's hang it over our island. Maybe let's hang 2 of them. So that's it for the lanterns.